the judicial system,
Yeah.
the legal system. They also ran the illegal system of running drugs down through time. And you had the biggest amount of poverty always existing amongst the biggest amount of wealth.
Yeah, yeah.
Coexisting side by side. And that's what we have today. So you can follow them all down through history as to where they set up their major camps.
So,
instead.
Alan, is Freemasonry, the common denominator here?
Yes, if you are, if you belong to a religion that goes into countries, brings its own religion in, controls the wealth, and gets the sole power to distribute money and handle money, and the drug industry, the pharmacological industry. So sure, you need more people to help implement your system, a form of middle class. And we know that the Rosicrucians came into Britain and worked very hard in the sciences to bring forth the Industrial Revolution. And that's a key word too, is revolution, because that's one of their terms. They create revolutions. Most are bloodless, some are bloody. And even during the 20th century, we had the sexual revolution and all of this kind of thing. These were primarily bloodless, but they totally altered society.
Yeah, of course. And there we have the word again, because revolution is just like revolving, or going one circle, so to speak.
Yeah, you have us literally going in circles.
Yeah, exactly. Revolution after revolution, but nothing happens.
Not for us.
Not for exactly. Things happen, of course.
We adapt. We always adapt.
Yeah.
As Plato said, man is the most adaptable creature on the planet, and therefore we can give him his culture. And we can change his culture so easily that the generation involved who have a new set of rights and wrongs will be the last to understand or even see it.
Yeah.
And that's happened over and over.
I wanted to ask you, because you brought up Francis Bacon there earlier. He wrote one of his books that his name was on was The New Atlantis. And primarily he spoke, about America as the new Atlantis, and that it was going to be set up as the new Atlantis and so forth. I mean, this is also something that is interesting, because the theme here is also kind of a revolution, or that things are just revolving around, because the theme here seems to be that America, has been set up as this superpower, but now it is being brought down, the symbolic, I guess, destruction of America or Atlantis. Do you agree with that?
I think, judging from history, when the empire builders go in, they'll build up a country to be the leader for a certain period, and to push the changes on everyone else, every other country, and then they kind of, the money's withdrawn, and they go down, and they sink into what they've left behind.
Yeah.
So the United States was definitely created to bring in a global system. It's on all their seals, it's on everything.
Yeah.
They call it the Enterprise.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why they had the Starship Enterprise on the Star Wars series.
Yeah, Star Trek, yeah.
Or Star Trek. So yeah, and it even say that e pluribus unum, out of many one.
Yeah.
Now, pluribus unum, many in one, also is monopoly. And the United States has been a champion of monopolization of industries across the planet. They kick out, they destroy any competition and monopolize everything into one.
And
that's one of their MOs, yeah.
Yeah, and that's like a more a communistic approach to things, I guess, than a capitalistic.
It's a different type altogether, really, because it seems to be a capitalistic approach to using this particular communistic technique. But really, when you realize at the top there is no left nor right.
Exactly, yeah.
There's only the one, as you call it. And we find from the writings of the founding fathers that nobody reads anymore, that the writings that they wrote themselves, say by Jefferson, or he said the same thing as Ben Franklin.
Yeah.
Jefferson said that out of this federation of the United States of America will become the nucleus to a federation of the world.
Yeah.
And that's basically what the role has always been.
Yeah. So there is a definite plan here, so to speak, to guide us towards this goal of a one world order, right?
It's all through the writings, President Wilson's writings, Colonel Mandel House. They really put up the banking system, and he was the boss of Wilson, really. Yeah, they knew exactly what they were going for, a monopolization of not just the world as such, but the whole system, the mineral rights for the entire world, the water rights for the world, all energy resources for the world would go into the same hands. And this would be a new form of dictatorship, which they prefer to say is benevolent.
Ah.
They're benevolent dictators.
Yeah. So I mean, how if they were to succeed with this, I mean, how do you think that the world actually would look? I mean, would it be a severe kind of fascist police state, or you know, kind of
in its death throes of the old going into the new, you would have that. They are on a roll, and have had world meetings about the science meetings, about chipping the brains of people ultimately. You've probably seen the write-ups by the Professor Warwick in England, who's taken a chip in his brain. He's one of the funders to push this.
Yeah.
Well, at Loyola University in Louisiana, they had a world science meeting paid for by the United States Department of Commerce, and the professor from Japan said, we're ready to implant this in everyone on the planet, except for the elite. They must retain their survival capabilities. And he said, but when this is put into the people, there shall be no more individuality as we know it. It will be impossible for a person to even try and think of themselves as an individual. And so he said this will be pushed through cartoons, through novels, through movies. Now, he didn't say we'd like it to be pushed. He says this will be pushed. And at this science meeting, they didn't discuss politics once, because the boys at that level don't work for politicians. They work for the real world government. That's another clue.
Yeah. So the goal is to...
It's ready to go. Regional computers will literally direct all of the chips that are out there. And they claim that they already have the regional computers set up.
Oh my God. So the goal here is to basically chip people, and then the technological aspects of that will be that they rather don't have to control people to that degree, you know, by force or by violence, because people will be...
You won't even need to entertain them through sports and all the rest of it. They'll be robots, really. And even that isn't the end of it. It's the never-ending story. That's the occult meaning behind the movie. The never-ending story.
Yeah.
Man is the material. They are the high builders. They can shape us and keep reshaping us as according to their needs.
Okay.
And they've talked about literally growing us, specializing in for specialist purposes. They even had they said they could even make a man with gills who could go underwater as a diver and repair oil rigs and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
they have the capabilities to genetically do it today.
So they want this technology, you know, to do all these, well, basically, you know, amazing things, I guess, scary, but amazing still. And but the idea is still to maintain things in this state as they are, basically.
Yes, as we go through this, and then they'll gradually bring down the population actually doing it. That's the bad news, that they have been doing that already.
Yeah.
With all the crippling diseases that have emerged since about 1950.
Yeah.
And it's direct results of inoculations, and that was planned that way. But they don't need all the people on the world. Modern economics will tell you that we are here to serve the economic system, not the system is there to serve us.
Yeah, yeah.
And they do not want inefficiency in this brand new system that's coming up. They want total efficiency.
So I mean, as things are now, I guess China is a really good example maybe of what they're trying to achieve, because that has this strange mix between being on the surface communistic, but a communist country, but it is highly capitalistic, so to speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, really, it's really an oligarchy in China. And China has been put up by the United Nations as the model state for the world that we have to emulate. And they have the one-child per family policy.
Yeah.
And they do enforce it rigorously. And they use more psychology on their public in their culture creation to create social approval and disapproval. It's been done more intensely there, so that even neighbors will turn you in if your wife is pregnant again.
Yeah.
Because they say, well, you're antisocial because you're going to take more food and for a selfish purpose.
Yeah. So I saw a clip recently regarding, I don't know if you've heard about this, but this was about CCTV, the cameras, that had speakers on them. You seen this?
Yes.
Who could, talk back to you basically, and one of the directors there, I can't remember his name, but he said that the main problem and the reason for them putting up this system with the speaking camera, so to speak, was because the main problem is not terrorism, it is antisocial behavior and people who, basically misbehave on the streets so that they can shout at you so you can, fall into line again.
Right, and they always show us in advance from Hollywood, many years before, what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And it's not because they have tremendous writers in Hollywood, it's because many of those in Hollywood have brothers working in these think tanks that are planning the future. And the Demolition Man with Stallone had all of that in there, with the machines talking to you, handing you fines automatically if you swore or whatever.
Yeah.
In public,
Yeah.
So yeah, that is the plan. Is behavior modification.
Yeah.
On a grand scale. Yeah.
Antisocial behavior. That's it's so I cringe when I hear the word.
Well, the thing is, the word interdependence is a strange word. It was first used again around the time of John Dee, who was an advisor at the court of Queen Elizabeth I.
Yeah.
And John Dee came up with this term. He was a Rosicrucian as well. And he came up with the term of the British Empire. It hadn't been used before. And he explained to the Queen what this empire would be, how it would work. And it would be a form of free trade, which would be a monopoly trade, where it would exclude those who are not passed as members by the ones who would run it at the top. So it wasn't going to be free for everyone. However, it would also bring other countries to their knees to join it by excluding trade with them. Now, to join the Union, this British Empire, you would have to acquiesce to all their rules, regulations, and the economic system which you adapt to. Now, all your laws run around your economic system. So if you adapt to that system, you would become part of the British Empire. And so they knew then where they were going with all of this, this system.